Okay, so I'm moving the People for Profit Bill, the 39th Amendment to the Constitution Right to Housing Bill 2020. And we did, it's worth noting, move this bill in the last Dáil in September 2017. And at that point, not surprisingly, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael voted against us, and as a result of that, it didn't pass. So, in the context of the earlier debate, let's be absolutely clear. We want to put the right to secure, affordable, dignified and appropriate housing into the Constitution and make it a right for every person living in this country. And Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael voted against it. And people just need to hear that fact. This particular bill seeks to delimit the protections that are given to private property in favour of the common good, which does allow, even under our Constitution, the common good for the government to override private property rights, but it doesn't define clearly what the common good is, and specifically, it doesn't include in that the right to housing as a clear part of that common good and give it priority. So that is what we are setting out to do. I won't read all the wording, but just to say the state in particular recognises, this is our bill, the common good is including the right to secure, affordable, dignified housing appropriate to need for all residents of Ireland, and shall guarantee this right through its laws, policies and the prioritisation of resources. And it goes on to say it will delimit the right to private property in that regard. Now, why is this necessary? And indeed, why did the government, or the two major parties of the government, oppose this the last time? The Greens supported it, so it'll be interesting to see are they consistent with their previous position in terms of trying to get this bill passed into law, to get a referendum so that we can insert this right. Why is it important to do this? Well, look, I'm not going to rehearse the obvious about the absolutely shocking, obscene, outrageous housing and homelessness crisis that we have in this country. You only have to walk through the city centre to see the tents littering the streets of people who are homeless. You only have to think of the 100,000 families that are on housing waiting lists in my area, up to 20 years, waiting for a social housing that they'll never get. You only have to deal with the fact that 70 to 80% of working people in this country haven't got a prayer of being able to buy a house when property prices have gone up by nearly 100% over the last 7 years, when rents are now running, certainly in my part of Dublin, at about an average of €2,000 a month, 2,500 being common, 3,000 being not uncommon. How is anybody supposed to pay for this? And it is a disaster. And the government have facilitated all along the line the vulture funds, the corporate landlords who are profiting from this crisis. And all of their policies have sought to facilitate them and prioritise their rights over the right of people to have secure and affordable housing. And today we had residents from a place called St Helens Court that I have brought up, I'd say about 30 times in this Dáil over the last 4 years, and they are still in the desperate plight that they've been in all that time at the hands of a vulture funds that were invited into this country by the Fine Gael Labour government in 2012, 2013, who profited handsomely from the housing misery that people are facing. And there they were out there protesting today because they are now overholding, because they've been evicted by a vulture fund. They've lived there for years. They're part of the community. Some of them are elderly, some of them are unwell, and the council is telling them, sorry, we've nowhere for you to go. You're probably going to have to go to a homeless hostel. They're looking for affordable tenancies. They can't find them. Their rent, even the rent they were paying when they before they've been evicted by this vulture fund were €900 a month, but you see the problem is that same landlord on that property can now get €2,000 a month, and that's why they want them out. And that's why they've tried on 5 occasions to get them out over the last 2 years, and now they've succeeded because the law that protects tenants is not robust enough to deal with the ruthless profit hunger of these vulture funds, and the government does nothing because we can't interfere with private property rights, i.e. the right of corporate landlords and vulture funds to make profit by making other people homeless. So that's why we need to change the law, and we need to put the right in the Constitution to protect tenants, to stop unfair evictions, to take action against vulture funds and land hoarders and property speculators who profiteer from the housing misery of other people. And consistently, the government has failed to do that. In my view, in our view, because in the end you're dancing to the tune of these landlords. Because the Irish rich have always got rich through property, through landlordism, through their investments in these kind of investment vehicles that they now want to move into the public land bank, people getting very, very rich from property, and specifically from the housing misery and homelessness that huge numbers of people, not just those who are in the dire situation of being homeless, but those trying to get on the property, trying to buy a home, trying to rent something that they can afford, and the constant insecurity if you're a renter or tenant that you could be put out in the street. So this bill will remove the obstacles and excuses to taking the effective action we need in order to have rent controls, in order to give security to people, in order that the state will prioritise the resources it has to make housing a basic right for everybody in this country.